Mizzou can make it 2 straight. Haven't said that in a while. Saturday afternoon in Knoxville against the Vols. I'm Noah Kozlov. Dave Matter covers Mizzou football for the St. Louis Post-Dispatch. Actually, now it's the time of year when he's doing double duty with football and basketball. But we'll start with football. And Demaria Crockett, 3-star recruit coming in. What was expected of him this year? And how did this success happen?
Well, as bad as Missouri's running game was a year ago, the thought was adding him, adding Alex Ross, the transfer from Oklahoma, would maybe rejuvenate this running game, maybe be a committee approach. And even in the first game, he just had a couple carries. He fumbled, and it seemed like, okay, well, he's going to be pretty low on the totem pole here for a while. And then he just gradually got better and better, and it became apparent that he was their best running back by far, one of the best young running backs in the whole SEC. So I don't think anyone expected him to have this kind of success this early, where he's knocking on the door of 1,000 yards. He already has the most rushing yards by a Missouri freshman running back of all time, and he's looks like a really special player too. He's not just doing this against some of the bad defenses. He's been doing it week after week.
All right, so now he's going to face Tennessee on Saturday. Do you think we could get a little bit of, well, there's certainly going to be scoreboard watching because of that LSU-Florida game earlier in the day, but given if something crazy happens in that game and LSU beats Florida, then Mizzou could get a completely different Tennessee team, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So much hinges on that earlier game that's going to go final at some point during the Missouri-Tennessee game. If Florida wins and wins the East, then what is Tennessee playing for at this point? If they lose and the division is still up for grabs, Tennessee obviously is more motivated to win the game, but do they get distracted at all? I think if you're Missouri, that's the hope. Like Missouri players said this week, they never thought they'd be saying this, but Florida fans are really pulling for Missouri this weekend, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, that's been happening all over the country with Ohio State, pulling for Michigan, all sorts of crazy things. Let's close with the article I saw on USA Today about the attendance at Mizzou, and it's something that you've touched on as well throughout the year. But it seems to me that Mizzou administration says, well, if we win, then fans will come back. Is it as simple as that?
I think in some ways it is. Missouri has always had sort of a core group of fans. I'd say it's somewhere between 25 to 40,000 that are going to show up even in the dark ages when things around this program were pretty dismal. And then the rest it's kind of a bandwagon element. And when they were winning division titles, whether in the Big 12 or the SEC, the place was packed on Saturdays, and usually regardless of the opponent. And then suddenly last year happened, not just the losing, you had the player boycott, which I think alienated some fans. And so going into this year, the expectation was, okay, numbers are going to be down. If the team is playing well, they'll go up a little bit. But obviously, when you lose 7 of your first 9 games, you're not an attractive team now for that element that's going to show up based on how the season is going. So I think if they can turn this thing around here at the end of the year, maybe show some life, and then build some excitement for next year, you maybe see those numbers go up. But a big thing that I've been surprised with is how sparse the student section has been. And I think some of that's kind of a generational thing. I just don't know if many college students want to sit through 4 hours of a college football game anymore unless they know that they're watching a really relevant, nationally ranked, relevant team.
Yeah, and that's something that I thought I'd ever hear. College students just don't want to sit, watch football, hang out. Times are changing, I guess. Dave Matter, St. Louis Post-Dispatch. Good talking to you. Thanks, Dave.